This is my opinion on substances like sugar, coffee, tobacco, substances, quote, drugs that elevate you at a cost, right? Which is opposite to something like kale or oranges, which elevate you and they don't really have a cost. There's no real downside. So, if there's a graph, and this, every different substance has its own benefits, right? Sugar can bring out the sweetness of life, and it can ease. It brings a lot of dopamine, a lot of euphoria. Coffee heightens the metabolism. It brings a lot of energy. It really opens my heart personally. Tobacco, it's another really good elevator and another really good clearer. I mean, there's so many things these substances do, right? So, this axis could be the good feeling or the beneficial effects of the substance, and this is time, right? So, when you ingest it, say you take a puff of a cigarette, because that's an easy one, you're gonna feel like this is your baseline state of mind. Then you're gonna feel like this, right? This is baseline state. Just make dots. Okay, so you feel like this, and then, with time, you go down, right? And then maybe you go here, which actually for tobacco, I feel like this is very healing, and this elevates your baseline state in the overall. But you do feel worse, right? And maybe with tobacco, it's different with each of these. And then let's say you use the substance in a really positive, conscious way. You'll go like that, right? Your baseline state with coffee, with tobacco, it'll raise it even just a little bit. This is what I believe. This is what I've experienced when I use a substance in a really positive, supportive, helpful manner, in not in excess, but in moderation. It actually elevates my baseline state because it helps me process emotions. It helps me realize truths about the world. It helps me appreciate what I have. And so this is kind of a general graph of substances, right? Now, and this is time, and then this is let's just say mood, which this is a very vague term. Now, so this is what happens with substances, right? Now, what happens when you overuse them? Okay, so this is use in moderation. /conscious non-addictive pattern. And the cool thing is about if you do fall into the addictive pattern, but it is conscious, you'll learn how to come back to this. So even if you do use a substance and it does turn to be this graph, which is high chasing / addiction, even if you do end up getting addicted to a substance where it's unhealthy and it doesn't elevate your baseline state, it lowers it, and then you have to reuse the substance to even get back to your baseline. If you do it consciously and you notice this happening and you do your best to feel everything that's happening, you don't just tune the fuck out, you will return to this. Even though this might be a painful process, which it fucking is, it's a painful process, but you will naturally learn how to return to this, how to respect the substance, how to have moderation, and how to use it in a healthy way that is not bad, everyone on the internet says oh, tobacco bad, this bad, that bad. Every substance, if used in moderation, in the right way, in a conscious way, is I don't know about heroin and stuff like that. I'm not ballsy enough to do that, and I don't really want to. But except for these outliers, there are many substances that can be used in a very, very, very healing, helpful way. But anyways, let me get back to this. So again, baseline state. So let's say you use it again and again. So the second time, let's say for your body, what your body needs is like coffee once every 3 days or once every 2 days, right? And with some exceptions, maybe some days you take a longer break, some days you feel like you really want to reward yourself, or you really feel like you need the boost and your body has the capacity to take it in a healthy way. Then if you feel a significant shift in your energy and your mood when you drink coffee, that means it's probably not this. Because what happens is every time you do it in excess, this is okay. So I would label these like this is the first time in excess, and then maybe this is, so then your baseline state gets lower, and then this is your second time in excess, right? And then this is your third time. So each time the high gets less and less, your baseline state gets less and less, and the downside gets bigger, right? And maybe this isn't 100% accurate, because maybe it would bring you back to this, right? So, but all of a sudden it would be something like this. So maybe it would be something like this, right? Where the high would just be a baseline state, and you go down there. Something like this, right? So every single time the high gets less, 2, 3, 4, 3. Every single time the high gets less and less and less, and your end result is also lower, right? And an addiction forms when your baseline state is like, let's say here, right? And you miss this. You really miss this. And this baseline state can be the result of many things. It doesn't have to be the result of an addiction. Meaning like, let's say you're depressed, right? Let's say something that happened to me that caused me to fall deep in an addiction is my father died. And I had a huge amount of unprocessed grief. So all of that grief, and I didn't know how to process it, made my baseline state like fucking here, right? That's pretty sad. And then what did I do? So this is fucking painful, right? This is maybe my natural, happy, optimistic state where I'm enjoying the world, and then something happened. Maybe I get a little sad, and then I come back here. But overall, it's a pretty good place to be. I'm not avoiding life, right? This is baseline state of enjoying life, because that's our baseline state. Taking in the beauty of life, accepting hardship. Maybe you come here, but you know you'll come back here. You know, it's a very nice, safe place to be. If you're here because this gap is like a fucking year's worth of grief, or a very, I don't want to say it in terms of time, but a shit ton of grief, right? So the only way for me to return to my baseline state, which actually it was more than just grief, but let's just say it's just grief. It takes a shit ton of time of processing and facing sadness and loss and anger and like and sorrow and like longing and missing and feeling lost and feeling like I don't have a home, and you know, there's all of these little emotions that want to tell me something that I haven't yet processed. So this is a personal experience. And anyways, I'm here, right? So I really, really longed for this. And I got very addicted to video games and the computer. Okay, this is my baseline state, right? And so what the addiction did is my specific addiction to the computer numbed this. So I didn't know whether I was here or here. I was like, this is how I felt if I allowed myself to feel. But it was so painful, I just numbed it all. And what I would end up feeling is this, which is when I stopped numbing, I felt the sorrow, grief, pain, over time. In the process of unnumbing, I'm like, oh, there was all of this tremendous amount of pain separating me from feeling whole. A lot of parts of me I didn't accept, right? And this took time, effort, will, patience. It took a lot of painful moments, a lot of it took a lot of mental fortitude, energy, courage. Like, it took a lot of energy, right? This took a lot of energy. So, and this took a lot of time. And this is just numbing it, which is an addiction, takes zero energy, zero time. It's very simple, very straightforward, but it doesn't actually, like, you still feel like this. You just think you feel like this, right? Which you don't. This is a complete different realm of reality than that. So, yeah, anyways. So how does an addiction form? When for some reason you cannot get back to yourself. You cannot feel the state of flow, love, peace, bliss, confidence, euphoria, because of one reason or another, past trauma, a big event happening. And this is where the high chasing begins, because when your normal state is so fucking shitty and so unbearable, which it needs to be, I mean, you need to allow yourself to feel it in order to process everything that makes it unbearable, but your normal state is unbearable. And if you don't accept this, then you will fall into this. And that's very easy to fall into, because if you feel a tremendous amount of pain, society's way of dealing with that right now is painkillers, numbing. Right? You have an illness, doctor prescribes you painkillers. What if you feeling that pain would actually help you recover faster? Which is something I've experienced. Sometimes painkillers are, moderation. I'm not saying all, like, let's say you feel like this. Yes, elevation can be helpful in moderation. Yes, coffee has helped me tremendously realize some of these things. So, but it's a very fine line. It's a very fine line where there's sometimes your body is asking for help. It's like, hey, I can use some outside help in processing this thing and accepting. Maybe I need some relief. Maybe I need a breather. Maybe I need some, like, it would benefit. Just like when you're low on vitamin C, you crave an orange or something. You have an infection, you crave whatever you need. And so there is this, and what I mean by this is useful. I don't know why I put it underneath, but useful substance use. And then this is like addiction high chasing, let's just say. And it's a very fine line to differentiate. Oh, let me give myself a break. Let me allow myself to play video games for the whole day. Oh, let me give myself a break. Let me allow myself to drink a coffee, smoke a cigarette, whatever. Which, if you look online, like, everyone's going to say, oh, no, don't do that, bad. Bullshit, man. Drinking alcohol, smoking cigarettes, these things have helped me tremendously to process things my whole life. I mean, especially in these years I've been coming from this to that, right? Bullshit. If anyone tells you that any substance is black and white bad, bullshit. I don't give a fuck. Bullshit. But maybe that is the advice you need to hear in a place where maybe this is the fine line, but you're like here. You're like here. You're like, you see, this is the line, and you're like, addiction, which this is where I was when I was here. Before I started healing, I was playing for years, 16 hours a day on the computer, and I needed to quit it altogether for like months, right? Months to disengage. It was so devastating and numbing and pulling. It pulled on all of me, and I needed to let it go. And then this fell back down to here, maybe. And so then it's been this, right? And this is learning yourself, wavering, seeing where the line is, finding out what your line is for what is healthy in an addiction. So you can have this. That is the goal, right? Beautiful, brilliant use of a substance. It elevates you. This period is even nourishing because this brings out the parts of you that you don't want to face when you're just full baseline. And then you come out ahead. So you get to experience the high, you get to heal, and then you are lighter and in a better mood in the future. This is what this represents. This pattern of just chasing this, right? You just chase this. You just want this. And you want this so bad, even if you know you won't feel good doing it, even if you smoke fucking 20 cigarettes a day and you don't feel anything when you smoke them, which I've met many smokers like that, and it makes sense because tobacco is fucking highly addictive. If all you do is chase that, and all of a sudden the voice in your head that says, hey man, we're gonna do this, this is too much, this is not healing, this is like bullshit, this is numbing, you're going here, this is way too much negativity for you to handle, this is way too much for healing, you can maybe heal from this, but when you do this, this is fucked, this is numb. The only way to handle this is numbing, so you're not gonna grow from this, you're not going to learn to use the substance healthily, you're gonna numb this bullshit, and then when you numb, that is when, by the way, numbing is what causes your baseline to go lower, because there's unresolved emotion here. And again, numbing is, I'm not saying numbing is bad. Numbing is okay in a certain circumstance, especially when the emotion is so fucking high. Yeah, but, yeah. So anyways, this is like the pattern of an addiction, right? And with the line. And so, I guess kind of what I want to say. Let's start the page here. Let's say these are substances. Sugar. This is a drug. This is a drug. Caffeine. This is a drug. Nicotine. I'll say tobacco. I'll say nicotine. Because this is the addictive part of tobacco. I think tobacco is very healing, and tobacco is a respected plant. We said caffeine, not coffee. We said sugar, not pastry. So nicotine is very good. These are addictive. And I want to write THC. I don't know how weed is addictive. Maybe it's addictive like video games, which I'll just write dopamine, which is crazy because we all know we need dopamine. Dopamine is healthy. We know dopamine is healthy. We know high levels of dopamine and euphoria in the brain coming from a natural place is revitalizing, right? It's just in excess, all of these things in excess. So yeah, these are not bad. Not bad. Nuanced. Anything in excess is bad. You drink too much water, you can throw up, die from water, right? Now, these are easier. The nuanced point here is these are easier to have excess because very pleasurable. Now this, right? This is the danger, right? It's not, and I don't even want to write danger because pleasure is not a danger. Pleasure is like a natural part of life, you know? Maybe I don't want to use pleasure as the word, but elevated states of consciousness, being in nature and just sitting in awe, like awe is quote pleasurable, but there's something off with saying that, because the pleasure of awe feels different than the high chasing. One is natural, one is not. And these quote are natural if they were in moderation, but we as a society have figured out how to manufacture these. So we can dose ourselves. Like, the world we live in is not the world we were wired to, right? We were wired to live in a cave or something, to live in a cave or a grassland or something, and go out and find berries, right? Natural sugar. Right? Something like this, and then this would be a natural high. Like, finding berries could be euphoric. You know, you go in the wilderness, you scavenge, you have all of these skills, you can discern which are poisonous, which aren't. You have this sense of connectedness to the earth. You're walking barefoot. Then you find these berries and you harvest them, and it's like you would find this fucking euphoric feeling. You'd bring them to the town, everyone would applaud you at this luxury of sugar, and then you'd share it with people, or you'd have it to yourself. You'd probably share it because other people also have worked very hard for their luxuries, like meat, stuff like this, clothes. And there would be this beautiful, harmonious collaboration happening for sugar, right? This sounds very wholesome. That sugar is this natural resource that's not manipulated or manufactured. It's how our bodies have adapted to live. Now, the difference is the world we live in. Right? We live in a house, and if we want to go find some sugar, I'm drawing this while looking at the screen. If we want to go and get some sugar, we just go to the supermarket. We don't have to have any skills, no skills. You need to know how to walk. You learn that at like 1 year old or something. And you just go, you know exactly where it is. You don't need to find it. Your supermarket is probably like 5-minute walk away, 10-minute walk away. You just go in and you pick up some grapes, you know. You pick up a box of grapes. You just pick up a box of grapes and then you return home. And not only are there grapes, there's cinnamon rolls, and there's candied walnuts, and there's chocolate bars, and there's, you know. All right, dude. I think in one supermarket there are more sweets like than any one person would ever find in their lifetime, like a few thousand years ago. Which is insane. A supermarket itself is so dopaminergic, just having all of these fucking incredibly high, rare, quote, rare things there that we've learned to cultivate and present. You don't even have to go to the farm, none of this stuff. It's all there for very cheap. You work for maybe like 10 minutes, you can buy, you know, some like a candy bar. Not even, you work for like 1 minute. You can buy a Snickers or something. So this is the imbalance. It's naturally imbalanced. And so, because we've learned to create such an abundance for ourselves, we've learned to create such an abundance. These are in abundance. Abundance. Such abundance. Such abundance. It's too much. Our bodies are not wired to show us how to not have these too much unless we really fucking listen to them. Right? Unless we really, really listen. And that can be hard. We don't know. It's never been a problem in our lives, maybe unless like once we were kings and stuff like this and we could like force people to give us stuff. But Never in our lives were we wired, or our genetics, to prevent the overconsumption of these. It comes out in different ways, like realizing you're numb. Like, let's say you put your hand on a frying pan, on a hot frying pan. You will know immediately not to do that. You will know it's very painful and clear. It's very, 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 very fucking clear. This is something we're wired to. If you get bitten by a dog, it's very clear. If you have too much of these, it's not very clear. And this is the problem. Our bodies are not wired to very clearly show us this. It does show us this because there are adverse effects, but it's not as clear as putting your hand on the stove, which is why you really, really, really have to listen very, very quietly to yourself to find the line. To find the line, you have to really, really listen to yourself. And this is evolution. I think we're evolving. As you learn to listen, you are evolving your consciousness. You are teaching your consciousness to listen how to deal with these in your life. This is evolution. Right? You are teaching yourself, and then maybe in 100 or 1,000 or even 10 years, I don't know how fast evolution can work with consciousness, it will be like this. We will have natural stops. This one. I mean, dopamine and let's say high fructose corn syrup and I think it's like trans fats, like fries, burgers, like high fructose corn syrup, trans fat, this stuff that leads to obesity, and dopamine. These are like the two biggest and most available, and maybe sugar. We don't know how to deal with these. Like caffeine as well. We as a society don't know, nicotine too. We don't know how to deal with these yet. Like we're just adjusting. The excess and abundance of tobacco, caffeine, again, not bad. Tobacco's fucking amazing. Caffeine's fucking amazing. Sugar's fucking amazing. All of these are fucking amazing. Just not in excess. Not bad. In moderation. Oh yeah, I forgot to write alcohol. So we are learning as a species, now that we have an abundance, like overabundance of these things, we are evolving to learn how to use these so that we don't become obese or addicted to TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Like, that is so new. Like, computer screens are so fucking new. Man, I am 28. We are on the fucking, we are on the expedition. We are on to find new land here. This is new land with smartphones, computers, social media, brand new, the internet. Screens can give us an incredible amount of chemicals in our brain. They are a drug. Screens are a drug. They act the same way. I don't care what you tell me. You don't ingest them because this is a new concept. Gambling, same thing, right? This is a drug, right? And again, I'm not saying drugs are bad. Maybe I shouldn't use the word drug. It's a medicine. All of these are medicines. Just don't over excess. And so we are on the brand new front with this. We are just learning. It's fucking new. Our systems are like waking up to it. We fucking love it. We're overdosing with it. It sucks. It's like crazy. And I'm not saying it's bad, right? The internet's fucking fabulous, but we need to learn. We're learning with all of these. We don't have the brakes. We have a train, and we don't have the brakes, so we're going a million miles an hour. And again, we don't have, a lot of us don't have the capacity to listen because there's so much noise. There's so much noise. You go to a forest, man. You go to a forest. I don't want to write on a new page. You go to a forest. All you hear are the cicadas and bugs. It's very quiet. It's noisy, but it's peaceful. You go to an ocean. A beach with the sunset. That's it. None of these exist, Then you go to a supermarket on the beach. Oh shit, there's the noise. This is the noise. This is peaceful. The supermarket on the beach, that creates a ton of chaos, which makes it hard to listen. So like resorts where you have like your pina coladas and stuff, that's not a beach. That's a man-made, that's intrusive. That's not nature. This is nature. This is nature. A forest, yeah. A mountain. No noise. So these places teach you how it is with silence, right? So it teaches you the space without all these things, without all this noise. Again, noise isn't bad. We enjoy music a lot. We enjoy gossip. We enjoy noise. Gives us information. But overstimulation as well. Overstimulation, which makes us deaf. It's deafening. You just hear a fucking loud ass concert. Deafening, right? Sorry for headphone users. So, yeah, all of this. Back to this. So much clearer. This has a lot of noise on it. Right? It's very jumbled. This feels a lot more spacious. I'm not gonna write that. I just want to do one last thing. So, through listening, we turn to this, to clarity. Peace, spaciousness. Yeah. Yeah. And this, so, yeah. And we learn again how to balance, harmony, equilibrium. This is equilibrium. This is how substances are made to be used in equilibrium. This is off balance. Equilibrium. This is what I had taught you today. How to go from scales that are like this, right? Off balance. When your life is off balance, back to a state of peace and equilibrium, balance, harmony, right? So that is what today's lecture is about. This is fucking hard, right? But that's how you do it. Peace.